welcome back to the program. So for the second time this week, we're looking at film directing, and you know that some of those wonderful productions that, you know, get us thinking, crying, laughing, you know, there's some people behind the scenes that are the authors of those wonderful works, and we're celebrating one of them today. Let's welcome Lord Tada Tolu Awobiyi. Tolu, so good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Again, right?
Yes. Growing up together.
Yeah.
Been fun.
Yeah, growing up together. And now we're
here
on this platform.
Should we just exit the set?
No.
You can do your parapo. I knew you were going to say parapo. That's the only Yoruba word.
Well, okay, let's start from the very beginning.
Okay.
You know, I know from the days of Unilag, you did urban and regional planning,
correct,
right? And then you worked with Teju Babyface, and I was beginning to wonder, you know, what's the connection? And you were never, you know, the entertaining type back in the days, you know, but now you're into entertainment. So walk us through the transition, you know, from those days, and now you're doing your own thing. You're doing film directing.
Let me start with a story. I'm a storyteller, I guess. I remember growing up at the time, and my parents used to think it was weird that all I wanted to do was, you know, draw, eat, sleep, draw, eat,
and
sleep.
Repeat.
You know, and press repeat. And I remember my mom walked me down the street, and there was this artist at the junction, and she took me. I was looking at all the fanciful, you know, beautiful things he painted, but I thought it was weird the man was always in singlet, you know, in that very narrow room. And then we walked back home, and my mom asked me, "Would you like to be like that man?"
Sato.
No. I said, "So you're not going to be an artist. So you would read architecture, right?" So I said, okay, at least it gives me the opportunity to draw, eat, sleep, repeat. But then I got to University of Lagos, and I was told that you didn't do well in physics, so you can't read architecture, right? So I ended up in urban and regional planning. Right. Spent most of that time just enjoying myself drawing. And then I left urban and regional planning, and then I found out that urban and regional planning had nothing to do with drawing, but painting houses and, you know, knocking them down. And I thought, nah, this is not exactly what I intended to do. Again, as a young man, you start to say, okay, how do I get a car? How do I get this? How do I get that? I said, okay, let me take a quick stop. Let me make some money before I start dreaming again. So I decided to work in a bank. I thought it was going to be there for 1 year, but I'd spent 7 years with Standard Chartered. To my friends in Standard Chartered, I'm sure you guys are having fun, but for me, it was like I went to prison, you know. And so by the time I was done my 7 years, I just thought, you know, it's about time I really did what I really wanted to do. But at the time, I didn't quite know what it was. Yeah. So I went into some time of introspection, and I don't know if you remember, the first thing I did after I left secondary school was to go join a video club, cassettes. You remember them? And I would watch tons of films. And it was the one thing that I could do. I would wake up in the morning, I want to watch a movie. I'm eating, I want to watch a movie. I go to the loo, I want to watch a movie. I want to get back in bed, I want to watch a movie. And so I said to myself, if I ever showed up in front of God, what would he ask me? What did you do with your life? I would say, a lot, but I watched a lot of movies. So I said, does it make sense then that I should, you know, tell the stories I've enjoyed, you know, retell them from the Nigerian perspective, from the African perspective? Can I take people on a journey to see some of the pictures that are in my mind? And can I make money while I'm doing that? And that's how I got into film. You know, it was a journey of finding myself. Yeah. And I've spent about 11 years now doing that. And it's been a truly fulfilling and rewarding journey.
So it's like you went full circle, started from the arts, tried to move to architecture, urban regional planning, went into banking, and you thought, you know what? Let me come back.
I must also mention somewhere in between there, I had this, it was Teju who kind of like gave me that, you know, the confidence to take the jump. Right. Because I had a conversation with him, and he said to me, what would you really like to do? I would like to do something where I get to create things, and create pictures. And he said to me, why don't you come join me? At the time, I'd left Standard Chartered and I was trying to transition, that journey of looking for myself. And I did a quick stop at Inside Communications. But it still felt a bit restrictive. Yes, there was a lot of creative work, but I came in as a client service person, which meant a lot of marketing, which was what I did in the banks anyways. But then when I got the opportunity to work with him, I could get behind the camera, see how things transition from script to screen, and I learned a number of things from him.
Fantastic. So, a couple of days, hide and seek, a young time ago, Ajuwaya, The Wait, Love in a Showroom, the list goes on and on. And I don't know if you think you started late. If you think you started late, maybe if I had started when I was 20 or 15, you guys, I would be here right now. I'll have like 100 movies under my belt. But then I'd like you to speak to operating in this climate, because you said you wanted to show people the pictures in your mind, make money while you're at it, but making movies in this climate, I see you're already getting the groove. So tell us about movie making. We have stories.
Exactly.
Absolutely, we have. If you can just look at Rivers drama and pick like 20 stories from it, sadly anyway, but of course it's good for the creative sector. But how is it making movie in Nigeria? I don't want to say how tough or easy is it, but just tell us, how is it to make movie in Nigeria?
I literally say I'm sorry for the guys who are coming in now.
Ouch.
And I am sorry also for us who came in then. And when I say I'm sorry, I mean that when it comes to the support you need, the support is becoming more available, but it feels like a very lonely journey. When I started, I had, you stumble into these things. I won't say they're proper structures that help you transition. In other countries, you find film schools, and you see a lot of young people here now leave to go out of the country but I learned most of what I learned from YouTube. This is me sitting on my dining table and saying, okay, so how do I write a script?
So say that again, you learned from
YouTube.
Okay.
You haven't been to any film school?
No. Literally, I call it bootstrapping. Yeah, basically learning on the go.
By observation.
Exactly. So you go to a set. I remember my very first set was a Yoruba film. I literally thought these guys are crazy. Right? I walk into the place, I'm sitting, and there's this man who sits next to me and says to me, please, have you seen the script? I'm like, yeah, it's here. And then I said, so what role are you playing? And this dude says, I'm the director. I'm like, you are the director, and you have not read the script, and you're going to direct us. Okay. What are we here making? And so it's an industry that's grown, by itself.
Yeah.
And while we must commend what we've achieved, I want to point out that there's a lot more that needs to happen, a lot more structure that needs to come into the space. Now I'll go back into my experience in coming up as a director. I had to do everything while directing. I learned how to write a script by myself.
Right.
Wrote the script. Then, okay, what do? I had to raise money to make the film. And then you go raise the money yourself, which is producing now, and then you go hunt for locations by yourself, go find the actors by yourself. Literally, I've done every part of filmmaking. Art direction, I get on set and I'm the one arranging what the set should look like. And it's made you a tough person, but it also has made you a jack of all trades, So in the time you were to spend to becoming a director, you spent it, dissipating energies doing things that are not necessarily, driving you forward as a director. Interesting, I will share this on TV. I went through a period where I doubted my ability to direct. It's about 4 years. I literally couldn't direct a film.
Imposter syndrome
So
kind of thing.
people would walk up to me and tell me they want me to make a film based on the successes that I'd had. And I said, I get you some young guy who doesn't know the meaning of what he's doing, and I will guide him.
Because of the challenge.
Yes. Because, again, the thing is, my experiences also created a certain pattern in my mind. It's almost like I can see what the problem is going to be before the problem becomes.
Right.
All right. So I would like us to go to the future. One question has been ringing in my head, and I want to bring it to the fore because of your role in the industry. We're big on drama, but there are bigger expectations. So perhaps, I don't know whether it's budget, you have to speak to it. When can we start doing series that are intellectually stimulating? I'm talking Grey's Anatomy. I'm talking Suits. I'm talking NCIS. We don't have, we've never had.
Okay, you've piggybacked on the first bit, budget. But then I think it goes a bit beyond that. And I'll be honest with you, some of my colleagues in the industry have tried to push that dial. And some truth needs to be told here. Your audience determines what you can make. Okay. And left to me, I will wake up every day, I will watch a sci-fi film. Now, which means I have a lot of sci-fi stories I want to tell. But where's the world in which I'm to tell that? And you cannot make film in isolation. Film is make-believe. People have to believe, And so you find that a lot of the content we are drawn to making is dramatic in nature, which is how the people express themselves. Now, in the United States, you find them talking high science, they're talking nanotechnology, they're breaking into new things, they're teaching their children to think like that.
Into space.
Yes, and talking about Mars, and I'm like, Mars, do we have the science? So it's in the world, you have to tell stories to the world you live in.
But we have a lot of political stories, and we have the sample of designated survivor.
Brilliant. I had a conversation with someone, and let me show you how the world operates. So I went into an interview to interview some high net worth individual, and I walked into his room and he said, nice to meet you, you're a director, I want to make a film like House of Cards. And I was like, yes, you're talking to me. I'm excited about that. And then he says to me, give me a ballpark, I won't hold you by it. How much would it cost to make that? I said, House of Cards? Probably between $800,000 and $1 million an episode.
An episode?
I'm telling you. You want to Google it.
An episode.
An episode.
So within the context of Nigeria, that could be more if you consider our own exchange rate.
Let me break it down because I love talking numbers.
An episode?
I'm telling you.
Okay. I think maybe we'll just forget that dream.
Big film in Nigeria will be Gangs of Lagos, yes? Ballpark budget for Gangs of Lagos is 250 million to 300 million, right? That comes to about $300,000. The whole film. Now we're talking about one episode in a series that has 6 episodes or 7 seasons, right? The economy of scales that we're dealing with in Nigeria is so, I tell people, I said, last year they said Amazon came in, 2 years ago they came in, they looked at the environment, and then they said, you know what, we're not dealing with these guys. Because it's like you're dealing with ants. I don't want to be derogatory, but what we're playing with as budgets, it's tiny, right? I made my biggest film yet. It's called The Artifact, and we shot in 7 states, traveling across Nigeria in November, December. I don't want to talk about the experience of making that, but the total budget for that was about 200 million. Now you're moving 80 people in vehicles, traveling across the roads that we have in Nigeria, sleeping in hotels along the way.
You're not sure of the returns?
Let's not talk about returns yet. That's a completely different conversation. We're talking about even making the film, right? Now, there's the logistics of even creating such an experience in the first place, right? And then you manage to achieve that, and then you put your picture together, and then there's nowhere to sell. And literally, I can tell you there's nowhere to sell.
Then or now?
Now, right now, as we speak. In that, what are the options? I have Netflix, maybe Amazon, because they're no longer looking at the African continent, they want to do Europe. What are my other options? Then straight from Amazon all the way back to maybe YouTube.
What about the cinemas?
That's a different conversation also. Now, the thing with cinemas is beautiful, but the problem is the producer only gets 1/3 of whatever is made in the cinemas. Which means my first film I made 20 million. Should I say this on TV? I made 20 million in cinemas. No, excellent. I like that part. Now, I'd love to hear what they would want to take off my returns on investment. So the film made 20 million in cinemas, and I spent 1 year making the film, and I went home with 400,000.
Whoa, that's money for the boys one night.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Even less.
You know, so in the end, it only becomes profitable. You know, it only becomes profitable when you then make 1 billion naira, like Funke Akindele. Then maybe you go with 300 million. But even at that, you are the one who made the film.
Oh, so even when you make 1 billion naira, you're going on with 300 million?
Correct.
Wow, there's so much to this conversation.
There's so much.
I should just say that House of Cards I saw cost like $3+ million per episode. So you are pricing it in Nigeria.
I was still underpricing. Exactly.
Oh, wow, Tolu. I saw the naughty, snobbish boy as a growing up child. I didn't see this potential, but it's good to be with you on this side of the divide. I'm looking forward to interviewing you again. Tolu Awobiyi, Lotana, film director, film producer. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Jeffrey?
Well, that's it on the program. When I heard that budget per episode, I don't think I'm going to ask that question again until I'm sure what I'm asking. But thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. We'll
be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
Hey, keep pushing. He's still pushing. He's still making movies, and he will hit the mark and surpass it. So this is our motivation to you today. Sunrise Daily is next. We wish you the very best today. I'm Kayode Okikele. Goodbye.